Welcome, everyone. Welcome in to episode 5 of the Living Dead Fam Presents the FogCast. Thank you so much for being here. We got a really great episode tonight. I mean, they're all great episodes, but this one's going to be a fun one, I promise. Definitely, it's going to be a great time, folks. We are so excited. Living Dead Mom, who do we have with us tonight?
We are so excited. We've got someone from Forsaken Lake. We've got someone from the Goring 20s and someone from the 50th anniversary maze, the Chilling Chambers.
Awesome. We cannot wait, folks. Again, thank you for being here. We are Living Dead Fam. I'm Living Dead Dad. This is Living Dead Mom. And this is the Living Dead Fam Presents the FogCast, where we get a close-up, behind-the-scenes look at your favorite characters from Knott's Scary Farm in Buena Park, California. And they're basically family, friends that we love chatting with. So sit back, get cozy, grab a drink, grab a beverage. It's going to be a fun episode tonight. So why don't we go ahead and bring on our guests? Who do we have with us?
So what we're going to do first is show you a clip of what these guys look like real quick in their makeup. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring them on stage and let them tell you which one they are. Forgive me.
Little technical difficulties here,
I
folks.
know.
But while we're figuring that, welcome in mods, chat, and viewers here. Thank you so much for tuning in here. We appreciate you tuning into this 5th episode of the podcast. But here we go. I think we got it figured out. But
sure.
All right.
Is it working?
We shall see.
All right.
Here we got Bad Bunny is back in the house, guys. Bad Bunny.
Bunny on the bad guy.
Bad Bunny.
Bunny on the bad guy.
Bad Bunny.
Bunny on the bad guy.
The baddest bunny on the planet.
Bunny on the bad guy. Shout out to our video editor, Living Dead Daughter. Thank you so much, Living Dead Daughter, for putting that one together. But why don't you go ahead and introduce who we have with us tonight, Living Dead Mom?
All right. We have got Kate, CJ, and Christine. Let me bring them on stage. And Christine.
All right. Welcome in, ladies. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Such an honor and pleasure having you on our 5th episode of the podcast. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing well. Good.
All right, Kate, let's start with you. Then we'll go to CJ and then we'll go to Christine. Kate, We just showed a video of where everybody plays within the haunt at Knott. So which one of those was you? Did you hear me?
So I am the jazz singer. 20s? Yes. So I'm the jazz singer of Goring 20s. I'm the one with the glowing microphone and this little sparkly dress.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. CJ.
Hello, so I played a griever last season in Forsaken Lake.
Awesome.
And that leaves you, Bad Bunny.
We start off by correcting my name is Christine. Christine. I was the bunny.
That was a lot of fun. We loved running into you in the mazes all the time.
And I hope you didn't mind me calling you Bad Bunny the entire season. I couldn't think of any other name but the world famous musician Bad Bunny. I couldn't have been the only one that called you Bad Bunny. I'm sure there were probably several that called you Bad Bunny.
Evil Bunny,
The Scary Bunny.
the Easter Bunny.
Is there an official name for that role there?
Just the stuffed terror, because in the past it wasn't only a bunny. They had other animal costumes.
Got it. Very fun.
And do you by chance know what maze was that originally from?
I think, okay, so the stuffed terror was from the original Chilling Chambers, but they put it in the clown room, even though it wasn't originally a part of the Carnivorous Clown maze.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, I wasn't real sure with the exchange there, and I couldn't remember, which one that was from. Some I could place, some went way back, and it was hard to remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we're old school. We go back since the mid '90s, early to mid '90s, when we started going to Scary Farm. So early '90s, right?
I know. Yeah, we're that old, guys. You have some questions you want to start out with?
Yeah, let's I'm asking this question. It's a little backstory of you guys. What inspired you to go work at Knott Scary Farm, wanting to scare the living deadlights out of everyone? Kate, we will start with you. Why did you go audition for Knott Scary Farm?
It just looks fun. It just looks fun. Like, I'd see people scaring when I go as a guest, and they look like they were having the time of their life. And they are. Can confirm.
Awesome. Very cool. CJ, what out of all the jobs to pick out in the world, why Scary Farm for you during the haunt season?
I've just always been a big Halloween lover. It all started out with me first going to like Midsummer Scream. I had a really dear friend who used to work at the 17th door, and he just had a big heart for Halloween, but also just the people in the community. And the funniest thing about him is he was an extremely good scarer, and then in December he'd be Santa Claus. And I was like, I want to be that cool. So I eventually, auditioned back in 2023, and I actually helped open Chilling Chambers. I was one of the dolls in the boxes. I had yellow hair at the time, and then my hair was purple and orange. And yeah, so that's kind of where it started out, and I loved it. It was so much fun.
Very cool. And last but not least, inspired you to go work for Scary Farm?
My friends here are the reason why, like literally these two. We go way back. I've known Kate for like more than 10 years. I've known Steve for like 7. We go way back. They started doing Scary Farm. They convinced me to do it, and I was like, well, I was the type of kid who liked to jump out and scare people, so why not? That'd be funny.
History going on here between the three of you. I'm gathering. Do you guys ever play tricks on one another? Do you guys enjoy scaring one another when it's not Scary Farm season?
No,
No.
We're too sweet to
You
each
know,
other.
I haven't heard either of them yet, but now I think I might. And then next,
You're done now.
thanks for the idea.
Oh no.
I
When
know,
did
I
I
just opened a
start?
can of worms
whole
for
can of
sure.
That's
Because
too
like
fun.
we're all super chill with each other. Like we'll sit down and have like charcuterie and wine, or we'll just go to a fun event and we're like really chill with each other. Like these are like my besties. I love them so much.
I love it. I love it. I can tell you guys there's a lot of love going on right here. So that is awesome. Very cool.
You can definitely tell by a lot of the people that we've talked to. You can definitely place that, be it you guys go in together or that a lot of people meet and make really close friends within the experience of working at Haunt, and it's just it's so neat to see. So neat to see. We had an Instagram from a channel called FogCast. And they asked if Knott's ever made a sequel maze from an existing or previous maze, kind of like how HHN did Monstrous 2 or Slaughter Cinema expanded the lore. Which one would you think deserves a sequel?
Out of every maze that they've had?
One stand out to you that you would say, you know what, that one needs to come back and maybe tweak it a little bit?
Okay, I know it's already a part of Chilling Chambers, but Doll Factory.
There
Either
you go.
Doll Factory
Doll
or
Factory would be cool. I love
want to see
Yeah.
what happened to the victims of the mazes, like if they were to escape the area that the maze is from. Like, where did they go from there now that they're transformed into this scary thing?
Definitely.
Nice.
That's a good spin on it for sure.
I like that. Yeah, those were two really good mazes. I think that they have done was Tooth Fairy and the Doll Factory. So it's definitely it plays with your mind. Everyone's scared of dolls. No one likes going to the dentist. So I mean, those were just two perfect mazes. I wish we could see those come back again, like a version 2, like what you said, Kate. Let's get the after story here. Did they escape? What's going on here? That'd be interesting.
Fine, CJ?
No, like same answer, but like the first go-to in mine is Tooth Fairy. Like that was the first ever maze I went through when I went to Scary Farm. Like my first introduction of what a Scary Farm maze is. And I love bugs. I love the whole concept of like the metamorphosis of like the caterpillars, to these like little critters, these little winged beings, and you walk around and you kind of see how they play with that. But like just the mixing the concept of like dolls and like the whole bug thing, I think that'd be so cool. Or even just like mixing up like another culture's Tooth Fairy too, because I grew up overseas and they don't have a Tooth Fairy over there. They call it El Raton. And it's like instead a little rat that collects little teeth. And I was like, what if they did something like that? Like have like another version of the story, like the Tooth Fairies, like helpers, and kind of mix those concepts. I think that would just be a really fun concept.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea. What about you, Christiane?
Well, this is a current maze that I think needs a part 2 is Origins, because like it builds a lot on the lore of Ghost Town, and I feel like we need a part 2 to that. I feel like we need more because it's so good, and again it builds on lore.
Agreed. Maybe like a mix between Trick or Treat and Origins. A little play on both of them. Good.
Very cool. What's your favorite type of? Do you guys like doing like jump scares, like little creeps, or do you guys like full on chaos? Like, what do you guys prefer? Can you share with us one of your favorite types of scares you like to go? CJ, we'll start with you.
I guess it depends the night, like what the energy is, because like some nights like people are really jumpy, you can easily get them. Other nights it's just really slow. But one thing I liked about the Zone Forsaken is they have a lot of props. They have like mausoleums and crypts and headstones and walls. And what a few of my coworkers would do, me and my fellow scare actors, we would lean up against the crypts or the mausoleums, and because of the color scheme of the costumes, we blended in and looked like a hedge or some kind of plant. And when people would come by and turn their heads, we would just look at them and would just kind of like lean forward, and that would be enough to get people all riled up. It was so much fun. Or just going through the fog, like we'll like try to like get into tempo with the fog machines, and we'll just kind of walk through, and it would create this really, like ghostly silhouette. And then people will kind of like look at us for a moment, and then once they realize that we were one of their actors, they'd either run the other direction or they'd start screaming.
I love scare zones like that when you can incorporate props and like stages like that, especially that in that scare zone. It is so dark. There's so much fog. You can, I'm sure, get creative night after night after night. So it's not the same scare for people, which is great. Yeah, that's a cool one. Kate, how about you, my friend?
My favorite scare tactic is to be very in character and walk by a guest and almost pass them before you divert and scare them. It catches them off guard, because if they think that you're not paying attention to them as you pass by, they totally think that they're going to get ignored, and it catches them by surprise. And I feel like in a zone like Goring, there's nowhere to hide behind, and you don't even look all that scary. You need like some element of surprise. So that was one of my favorite things to do.
See, it's Kate, it's the monsters like you I don't like, because I think I'm safe right when I pass by, and then you creep up from behind me, or you're like in my ear or just something, and it just gets me every single time. Like, you can't put your guard down at all. Think what would you say about that?
Well, the element of surprise was kind of built into my costume, because I was literally told, okay, just stand there and move all of a sudden. And that's what works best, because people would think that like I'm an animatronic or something, I'm not real. And then I suddenly start moving, and they're like, oh my God, there's somebody in there. Like, my favorite scares were when people realize there's a person in the costume and they like fall over or run away. There was one time where a guest actually collided into another scare actor that was coming into my room at the time, and she fell. She was trying to run away from me.
Wow, hilarious. What do you have, Dead Mom?
All right. Is there a monster at Haunt that you would be terrified to face in real life?
I need to think of
I'm just gonna say it. Animatronics freak me out. I can deal with a lot of scary things, but if it's an animatronic, I know it's not human, but if it was to be materialized as something real, no. I would coil up and roll away. Especially Shadowlands, I think they had some of the most spookiest and terrifying animatronics. Even dark entities like the alien ones. You know which one? The depths. That shark. The amount of times that shark has got me. No, don't give it legs and do not make it alive. Please, no.
No, those were good ones. Those were good ones. Kate, any that would scare you outside in the real world?
I'd say a lot of the characters in mazes that have the really horrifying prosthetics. Like there's the lady in Mesmer that has the violin hand, and she like has blade on her arm, and so she has like no flesh left on her arm. The prosthetic is meant for you to see like the bone and underneath and the tendons. And then you have like the monsters that have the crazy prosthetic.
Those are good ones. And I can agree. Even the big puppets, like anything like giant size props, or even any characters like in the mazes on stilts, freak the heck out of me. Like I can't.
I think
I can't do those. Anything tall above, or those giant puppet. And go figure. I do like puppets, but not the big giant scary puppets that are coming right out for me. I can't do those. That's a big no-no.
Christiane, how about you? Anything?
I would also be very afraid of the monsters on stilts. But also, I have really bad arachnophobia. So anything in Widows, I didn't even go through Widows last year. I was too afraid.
What?
No,
Are you kidding me?
Reoccurring nightmares about being covered in spiders. So no way.
No, that I can understand that though. That's a real fear. It's a real strong
that's the kind of fear that had me waking up screaming.
Wow. All right. Something a little lighthearted, something that got some our last episode, and so I wanted to ask again. If your character had a dating profile, what would it say? How would your character advertise themselves on a dating website? How about you, Kate?
Just gotta think about it.
So my character, Sasha, it would just be a whole bunch of like up close selfies of herself. Be like, welcome, I'm Sasha. I'm the star of the show. Just so you know, in this relationship, I'm gonna have all the attention. You're not allowed to. She would just be red flag I've ever seen.
I can see that. I can see that.
That is hilarious.
Christiane, how would you put Bad Bunny there on a dating website?
Probably like fluffy, fun, out of your league.
Out of all of our league.
The bunny's too good for you. Sorry.
Love it. CJ.
Ooh, I need a moment to think about this one. You know what? Probably just really flirtatious, outgoing, wanting to go for a swim, take you down the lake, all that, buy you loving girl, maybe a little home cooking, she'll eat your heart out.
Please your heart out. I like that one.
This is probably some advice for, I want your guys' advice for this. For someone that's just starting out for Scary Farm for the first time, what advice would you give them? How do you guys prepare mentally, physically, whatever you guys do? How do you guys ease in ahead? If you guys can give some advice to some of our new monsters that will be scaring alongside you guys, hopefully this coming up year, can you give any advice for the newbies coming in, the rookies? Let's see. Well, let's start with CJ.
I'm just gonna say, be hydrated. I've seen so many monsters running around, head to toe drenched in their own sweat. Get a routine going, an exercise routine, electrolyte, and also make sure you can maintain a healthy sleep schedule.
Right.
Another thing I would suggest is just looking in the mirror, practicing scary sounds. Try a dialogue. Get a few phrases in that you would say if you're gonna be a monster that talks, or come with a few like little motions that you can come up with, like body language, and just be crazy. If you're not like looking like you're insane, then you're not doing the whole monster bit right. You're there to scare people. It's called Scary Farm. So get ready to get some people shrieking.
Absolutely, 1000%. That's some great advice. Christiane, how about you, my friend? What advice would you give, and or how do you prepare to get ready for your role that you do there?
Well, I would just say, well, take care of yourself, be safe, and watch out for the guests. We're more afraid of them than they're afraid of us. You just be careful, because some guests are wild, and you never know what people are gonna do. So be wary and know your limits. Don't like, if you're gonna push yourself, don't get hurt.
Correct. No, that's great. And Kate, how about you, friend? How do you prepare for a night of scaring there? What advice can you give to the newcomers?
I'd say begin with, like CJ said, get on your sleep schedule, get those little packets of emergency that you use to boost your immune system and take care of yourself. Along with stretching, your walk or whatever idle motion you want, because that's what you're going to most of your time doing, being motion. Getting ready to scare, just think about like how your character's going to scare, how you incorporate your character's traits into a scare.
Excellent.
Makes sense. Okay. Let's see here. What is your haunt character's favorite Halloween candy, and which one do they hate? You, Christiane.
Favorite? Anything chocolate.
Favorite Halloween candy they hate. Anything chocolate.
They would probably hate. I think Baby Jolly Ranchers.
That'd be a mess in the fur, right?
Yeah.
How about you, CJ?
Cheap chocolate. She would hate that. She's the powdery cheap chocolate. Oh, yeah, she would hate that. She's a high class lady. She wants something nice, maybe like a homemade Rice Krispie treat, a Little Debbie's. She'd probably be all over a Little Debbie's. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. What about you, Kate? Favorite Halloween candy for your character, and what would they hate?
I think she likes Jolly Ranchers. I think she likes any gluten flavored candy, and she hates chocolate. And candy
Hating
corn.
on the chocolate.
Corn.
That's hilarious. This is, I guess, a hot take or like a public service announcement. I always kind of ask myself every time we go, every year we go, I always see parents that bring their little ones in there who are deathly terrified of you folks that are characters. Are you guys instructed to hold back? Are you guys instructed to go all in? Or do you guys personally say, you know what, I know I'm supposed to be scaring, but I'm going to hold off on this? Question is for you, like, how do you guys deal with the small little children that are there that are deathly afraid? I know there's the warnings outside for 13 and over, but as a haunt monster there, how do you guys deal with that? Do you guys have sympathy for the little ones, or do you say, this is it, I'm scaring this little kid, I'm going to traumatize this guy? I want to know, Christiana, let's start with you since you're inside the maze there. What do you do with that one?
Wait, the thing is, kids aren't afraid of the bunny. They love the bunny.
good
They
point.
want to hug me. So I usually don't try to scare them because like they're in love with me.
Wow.
But usually I gauge people's reactions to my costume first because that's like 90% of the scare is that costume. So if they're already afraid, I go in for it. If they're like, oh my gosh, it's the bunnies, how cute. I'm just like, hi. Basically. So yeah, kids aren't afraid. At least not of me.
You're just the Easter bunny in October, right? That's
Yeah.
all you are.
They're like, oh, it's Easter now? I thought it was Halloween.
I love it. I love it. CJ, what do you do in that situation? Do you hold back or do you say, I'm coming after you, little kid?
It usually depends. I try to get a good read on them. So I used to work with kids. I have a soft spot for kids. I love children. They can be so much fun to interact with and to talk to. I had one night where this kid was scared by another person, and this child didn't look where he was running and he crashed into me. And I broke character. I kind of caught him before he could fall, and I looked down at him and I go, and may I remind you, I had like the blood dripping down my mouth, I had a light in my mouth, and I had whiteout contacts on right beneath the black light. So I knew I already looked terrifying as it is. So I caught this kid when he crashed into me and made sure he didn't fall. And I looked down at him and I go, honey, are you okay? And he just looks up at me and starts shaking. And I go, oh, you are okay. So I kind of like let him go and he went running back over to his parents. And I was like, I was trying to help you. But for the most part, they're pretty fun. Like I've managed to scare a few, and they usually do really well. But if they start crying, like I'll try to sit down next to them and I'll start to like, I'll stay in character and kind of like chat with them for a little bit. And then once they kind of get a feel, they end up then just having an amazing night because they remember moments like those because, you know, they might end up thinking, wow, now I want to be a monster. Now I get to, you know, leave these really fun memories, you know, with other people. And the parents also appreciate it. But if those kids are, they're a little, like acting like little stinkers, I'll go after them.
Nice. I love it. Teach them a lesson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Kay, what do you do in a situation when you see parents bring their small children and they are deathly terrified of you? How do you handle that? Do you go all in or do you ease up on them?
Well, for my zone, Goring, any kind of meaningful guest was encouraged, whether it be scary, trying to immerse someone into the and me having a microphone and character, I would often just go up to them, try to get them to sing into my mind, to sing back to me. Or for my zone, there's a lot of opportunities where I got to like dance with children. Of course, there are also times where I would just scare them if they're 8 years or older. So yeah, for like, and if they seem too scared.
Yeah.
8 years or over, that seemed like a good rule of thumb.
Or just go after the parents.
There you go.
Because if the parents are pushing their kids in front of them, my group is one thing I loved about Forsaken is we'd go after the parents because the parents are looking at their kids and they're like trying to see what their kids are going to do. They forget that they're also free game to us, so we just go after the parents.
Good
Plus,
point.
doing that makes them seem like they're the ones that are afraid.
Yeah, that's the great point. And then if you're lucky, you might get 2 scares out of 1, right?
So this is going to work. I know we've had a lot of auditions already, but I do know that there's still some coming. Are doing their first audition. Let's start with you, Kate.
Just don't ever feel like you're making out of yourself, because you are everyone else. You're gonna feel silly. Just really about exactly what character you would want to scare as this season, and bring that to the audition. Casting crew will cast you as according to whatever the audition is. So scare the way it is fun for you to scare.
Awesome.
Good point. Good point. I like that. All right, Christiane, what's your best audition advice?
Don't be afraid to act like a crazy person. Everybody is supposed to seem crazy. Like that's the point.
I think that's definitely a common theme that we're hearing is just go after it and be nuts.
Yeah, and come up with
hold
like
back.
a bunch of stuff.
The nuttier,
like,
the better.
I'd say more than one character, because for like the rookie auditions, they ask you to do like different prompts, so they want to see usually more than one character because they want to see where they think you'll fit.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. CJ, what do you think?
Same thing. Act like a psychopath. Just go crazy. Because, you know, if you're not looking crazy, then you ain't doing it right. And the other thing is,
you're not standing out.
Yeah, and don't like stress about what you're gonna get. The judges are like phenomenal. They're really cool individuals. They know what they're doing. They're gonna be putting you in a spot where they see you best being. And once you're in that position, just give it your all. So the next season, if you want to go to a different area, they already know how you perform, and they'll just help you out. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Awesome. I love getting this one. I love asking this question. What's the one perfectly for you, like where, you know, you made someone drop to the floor, run away, scream really loud? I want to hear what's your most memorable scare you've ever done to anyone out there. Christiane, we'll start with you. You kind of went over it a little bit, but do you have another one?
Yeah, there was another one where I didn't even try to scare the person. They just walked into the room and they fell into their friends behind them.
Oh no.
Like backwards. He was afraid to even come past me. And this guy was like, I think he must have been at least 18. He was terrified, and I kind of felt bad because how scared he was. I was just standing there like, are you okay?
Oh no.
Poor guy. CJ, what's the one scare that you're most proud of the whole last season for 2024, maybe of all times?
Oh my goodness. Oh, there's a handful. I loved scaring with others. We would like ping pong people back and forth. So me and one of the sliders, him and I will pretend to like be bickering and would like argue with each other. And I would grab the back of his cloak and then throw him. And then he would slide towards people and people would just start screaming, especially when he would go through the fog. Because you just hear this loud sound, the metal going against the concrete. And then it's just fun to see people scattering out of the fog and just squealing. Or my other favorite one is I would be hiding behind a mausoleum and I had a light in my mouth and then my fan. And what I'll do is I would kind of kick the ground so it would make like a thunk sound, and I'd lean forward with my fan and hit my fan so it'd make that big sound, and I'd just open my mouth, and then people weren't expecting that because they're like, oh, we'll just walk through the fog, walk through the fun little zone, and then it's just I kind of like pop out of the side, and then they end up just screaming and walking and running off.
That's great. I love that. So some of those are like the best ones for me. Whenever they started incorporating those fans in there, like I lost it. I was not ready for those fans, but those work so effectively. I'm glad to see those coming back like year after year. I think those are one of the best scares that get me all the time. I just don't expect them. So yeah, those are really good. Kate, how about you? What's your most memorable scare that you are proud of? She muted.
Oh, your microphone is not working.
Did we lose her mic?
It's on. Oh no. I think we're having a problem with your mic.
Did we lose Kate's
No,
mic?
I think we lost Kate's mic. I'm sorry, guys. Let's see. I'm going to take you off and then bring it back on. Let's see if that helps or not.
How about in the chat? I haven't seen any. I haven't really
I do
looked
have
at the
one
chat.
right
Do you got
here.
one from the chat?
I do. We've got one from Brave Shift Cosplay. Her question is for Christiane. How did you manage to stay hydrated and cool in your suit, or was it easy enough to get water with the head on?
Good question.
So underneath the suit, they gave me a vest to put ice packs on, and I also had like an ice chest that my manager got for me backstage to put extra ice packs into to switch them out in the middle of the night. But in the maze, I couldn't drink any water, but we had very frequent breaks, so I got to take the head off briefly and drink water, but I had to make sure to not drink too much water because then I'd have to go use the bathroom, and most of my breaks weren't long enough for that. Because to use the bathroom in the costume, I'd have to take the whole thing off. And CJ had to help me sometimes.
I had to help her. So even like we would be starting at the same time, like we would be in the backstage, and we would just wait on each other, and I'd be holding her head, and then she'll be holding another part of her costume, and I'm like, you ready for another night? And then I remember like during break, she'd be sitting in the break room head to toe just sweating, and people would come over to the table and look at her and go, so are you the bunny?
Yeah.
How did you know?
Even my hair was sweaty.
You poor thing. And it's we get such a late summer, and I can't imagine how hot it is in there. Honestly, throughout all the time.
This is all the light.
Let's see here. Sorry, working on Kate here. We're getting some feedback with her microphone. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, we have another one. Arizona Paramedic asks, what character or costume is the most scary to kids? For example, zombie, vampire, or clown? Do you guys think that there is one that is scarier than another for kids? CJ.
That's kind of a hard one because it's hard to really scare kids these days, especially with all the games that they got, like Five Nights at Freddy's and all that.
Right.
Oh my goodness. I think it honestly just depends on how the actor or actress presents themselves to the child. Because like you could be in something scary, and just based off your body language, that can freak them out. But besides that, it's hard sometimes to scare, like to figure out what exactly they're scared of.
Yeah, definitely. Christiane, what do you think? Is there one type of character that might be scarier than another?
Baby clown, because it seems like kids nowadays, all of them are afraid of clowns, especially ever since like back when we had that like killer clown Halloween years ago. It's like everyone's afraid now of clowns. I'm not afraid of clowns. Everybody else seems to be afraid of clowns.
And dolls. They don't like dolls.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed
Dolls are
they're
scary.
easily terrified of dolls. Because people think I was a doll sometimes. And so I just play off of it. And that would get them kind of scared. But yeah, maybe clowns.
Saul asked, I have a question. Had they scared any famous people? Kate, have you run into any famous people out there?
No, I personally haven't run into any famous people. I hope to.
That would be fun. That'd be a lot of fun, especially if you got a good scare in.
It's funny because I know a lot of celebrities post, but it's after the fact that they've
Yeah.
been to Knott's. And you're like, oh, I was just there. I wish I would have ran into
Yeah.
this celebrity or that celebrity. I wish they would inform us ahead of time.
Right.
So-
That they're going to be there. CJ, have you run into anybody out there?
Oh, a handful. What's the name of that one actor who does Wolverine?
Oh, Jack Nicholson?
I think
No, Wolverine. No,
Wolverine.
Hugh
Jackman.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman.
He was beautiful. Let me just say that. I automatically knew who he was, and he was dressed up as what he did his hair. He had the
Wow.
white tank top, and I had to really stay in character. I ran up to him and I messed around with him because I love the Deadpool films, and I go, "You're in the wrong universe, aren't you, sir?" And he just was like, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, he's so cool." Even Rob Zombie went around. I didn't recognize him
No.
though, because he had a hoodie and
Is it
stuff
that?
on. Hugh Jackman, yes, Hugh Jackman. Oh my gosh, I got so excited, like. And then the other one was Elvira. She was walking around too. Cassandra Peterson. She was walking around. I didn't scare her. I saw her, but one of my one of the scare actors, one of the sliders, went over and got her. And she kind of looked at him, and he looked at her, and she had her hoodie on, and it was just kind of like that "I know who you are" kind of look. And then she kept walking away, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, Elvira was in the zone." It was so cool.
That's so neat. Christiane, anyone popular going through chambers this last year?
Rob Zombie went through there. I was on my break when it happened, and I heard everybody else telling me about it, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like
Man.
I know
I
we
don't
kind of
just work at Knott's. I work at Disney too. I run into celebrities over there way more than at Knott's.
So who have you run into at Disney?
Well, before I worked there, I ran into PewDiePie and Jacksepticeye.
Okay.
Those two YouTubers, but that was like, I think that was 2017. But more recently, like about 6 months ago almost, I forgot his name, but the guy who played Guillermo in What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. That is excellent. Wow. What were you doing at Disneyland to run into him? Were you like just
Face
rides
painting.
or?
I work at the face painting stand, and he was having a VIP tour,
Very fun.
and I was like, "Oh my god, it's that guy!"
That is so cool.
that is fun. I know we kind of touched on this on the beginning, but because she's asking again, we've got Missouri in the chat, and Missouri is asking a question for everyone. What motivates you to join Haunt? CJ, would you start?
Yes, so I love scaring people. It's so much fun. And I just love to give people the creeps. It's just something that's a little fun and different. It gets me into the Halloween spirit. I love being able to be a character or be a personality that I am not, if that makes sense. So by default, like, I'm all about like peace, love, glitter, butterflies, even though I don't look like it. But being able to play a villain or just this evil, scary being, it's something that I'm not, and it's fun. But then at the end of the day, I'm still myself. You know, if I can help establish some really fun memories with people who are coming, you know, to get scared, to get terrified, I'm all about that, because then they're going to be able to talk about it with their friends. Like, they can be like, "Oh my gosh, like, I scared my friend, you know, this person came out of nowhere, jumped behind a crypt, got her," and it's just, you know, they get to live with that, and it's fun just being able to do that.
Christiane, what motivated you? What was your motivation for Haunt?
Well, like CJ already said, it's so much fun. Like, I remember after my first night ever, I was I went home and I was like, I want to do that next year too. Not just the rest of this season. I want to do this next year. That's how fun it is.
I love that. Kate, what motivated you?
Well, now that I've done Hot, I can say that it's a really big adrenaline rush doing it, and that motivates me to keep coming. But initially, just being able to play a character, getting to dress up in a fun costume, and give people the they said is so much.
Too
Very
fun.
cool.
Too fun. Okay, we've got another question from the chat, from the live chat right now. Fade to Black says, question, do you dream about your character or dream about scaring people? Christiane, let's start with you.
I wouldn't say that I dream about scaring people, but I hear the music in my head after a long night of scaring people. And after a long night as the bunny, I was driving home looking at my human arms like, oh my god, I'm a person. It's really, it kind of makes you like weirdly disassociate when you're in a costume for so long and you look nothing like
Oh,
yourself.
I can imagine. I can imagine. CJ, are you dreaming of your character or still being at haunt after the lights turn out at night?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I talked to so many people about this. There's like a running joke with a handful of monsters where we're like, dreams go mad wild during haunt season all the way through October, even early December. And yeah, it's funny because like I know so many people who are like, dude, my dream last night was insane. And we just end up talking about them, and they're so much fun to talk about.
That's a cool perspective. I would like to hear a little more on that. Kate, are you dreaming about it at night?
Yes. Particularly the jazz band music that we have in our zone. Like we have a live jazz band that plays in the zone. As I'm trying to fall asleep tonight, I can't unlook. And also just hearing the music, playing my dreams, I'm still listening to the music, partying, having a good time. And it's not very good for like rest.
You know, after that, like it's like a party. What Kate does there, that whole scare zone, the Goring 20s, just the whole. There's entertainment happening everywhere.
Yeah.
Not only just the scares, the sliders that happen there, but like during the music that the big band, the swing band plays. I love when everyone gets together and does a little zombie march.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
The
I think
line
that's
dance.
so cool. The line dance. There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
Kate's doing it right now. And that was so cool to stumble upon that. So I'm sure, Kate, you probably just replay the entire party like night after night after night. To me, that looks fun right there. That whole scare zone. I hope they never get rid of that. I think it's very unique to that park.
Yeah. This might go more for the characters on the streets. Arizona Paramedic asks, what are the most expensive costume pieces that you have? I heard that zombie contacts and fake vampire teeth are expensive. Do you guys wear contacts or fake vampire teeth or anything like that, CJ?
Yeah, contacts do get a little expensive. Luckily, there's a handful of brands that do have really nice affordable prices and deals. So I know like even like Contact Solution is pretty reasonable. But in terms of like other things, like the nice thing is Scary Farm does offer really cool costumes that you already can use. And I know a handful of people, what they'll do is they'll add something to their character to make their character a little bit more unique. But for the most part, yeah, just the contacts do get a little pricey.
Kate, anything that you have to provide that's a little more expensive?
So
like CJ said, they offer a lot of really cool costumes, but you can take it upon yourself to accessorize the costume, and it can get a little pricey. I spent a bit on my microphone just because I had someone custom 3D print the head of it, and then I went through 2 pairs of shoes. I typically go through 2 pairs every season. We're told to tell some good things so much. The set of shoes. It's a little pricey.
Very cool.
That's fun. I think we're just sorry about that. We're having some mic issues, I think, on Kate's end, so it's really hard to hear you, honey. We're working we're working on it though. Trying to get through all the YouTube questions. Slim Devon's Adventures asks, what mazes do you think are the scariest? CJ, what maze did you think was the scariest?
Oh, a lot of people are going to debate me on this one, but I stand on this one. Dark entities. So space, the concept of like the maze itself, and then if you understand the physics of space, it's a vacuum. There's no sounds. It's constantly expanding, and it's dead silent. And the whole thing about aliens, like, aliens freak me out because if aliens are real and if they have technology that is allowing them to move at the speed of light speed, if an alien was to come right in front of me right now and go, hey, start running around and clucking like a chicken, you better believe I'm going to start running around and clucking like a chicken because they are probably an intellect. And the fact that you're just going through like all this collection of like machinery, I have a huge, like I said, I have a huge fear of machinery. I don't understand. It just makes me go, and my brain just explodes. So that whole maze and the animatronics, it's those animatronics that get me every time. So that maze really scares me. I'll go through it because it's so cool how they fabricated everything. But besides that, I don't like that maze. It scares me too much.
So CJ, I would highly advise, come Halloween season, don't go into Home Depot, don't go into Lowe's, don't go into Spirit Halloween because there's animatronics everywhere.
I can tolerate those ones. I can tolerate them, but it just...
Those are fake.
Yeah, I don't know. I think because they're out to get me. I don't know.
Exactly. I understand what you're saying, but yeah, that's I can see where the fear comes from. Very scary.
We got another one. Memories Amusement, who was in room 13. We had him on one of the last shows. He says, I have a question. When it comes to your character building, what are your inspirations? Kate, what inspires you?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you right now.
Okay, cool. So I looked up a lot of like jazz singers that were in the 1920s and just female singers in general. And I just, from like the limited amount of like photos and stuff that I could find, kind of tried to understand like how they moved, how they walked, how they carried themselves. And yeah, I just tried to look at like starlets from the 1920s or even some from the 1930s and kind of saw how they moved and how they performed and tried to incorporate that.
I like that. I like
Very
that.
cool.
Christiane, anything you use to inspire you?
The environment I'm in, like that stuffed animal room. Like, you know how people get really distracted by all the stuffed animals on the wall. The bunny is jealous. The bunny is a very jealous character. So when people like are staring at that and sometimes messing with the animals, the bunny would get mad. That's when it's time to scare.
So we got a mad bunny.
How dare they pay
What about
attention
you,
to the
CJ?
stuffed animals and not me?
Right. CJ, how about you, friend?
I got a lot of my inspiration from Princess and the Frog. I really like Lottie, I think that's her name is. I kind of wanted to do a spin-off of her character, like being all like sugary, sweet, but at the same time just really grumpy and angry all the time. But I just really liked her like mannerisms. I thought they were so cute. So I kind of wanted to play into that. And then even just like funeral rites and processions, like I love studying mortuary science. I took a lot of inspiration from that and forensics as well. So I kind of did some deep diving into that and figured, oh, what can I use here to incorporate it into my character? Because the Forsaken Lake is an interesting zone because the characters there, the type of monsters they are, really aren't specified. It's just kind of like a undead kind of character. So I kind of wanted to play off the idea of like the different stages of decomposition with the human body, and then I kind of went from there and kind of mixed up some things.
Very cool. I do. Both Living Dead Mom and myself love scary movies. And if you were to ask us what's our favorite scary movie, it's so hard to pin one down. But two questions here. What is your favorite? I'm going to assume we like scary movies here. What is your favorite scary movie of all time? And second question, what movie are you looking forward to seeing in theaters coming up here in the next, whatever, in a few months? There's probably a bunch of scary movies coming out. So what's your favorite scary movie and what are you looking forward to seeing in theaters? CJ, we'll start with you.
I love the Hellraiser series. I love Midsummer. And I'm a huge Art the Fan clown. I love the Terrifier franchise. It's so refreshing that that franchise is even existing, because for the longest time I feel like horror movies haven't been scary, or they just haven't been creative. And like I said, I'm a type of person, I'm hard to scare. I'm hard to like, feel squeamish, but the Terrifier franchise finally got me to that feeling of, oh my gosh, that's so gross, it's so grody. Like, oh my gosh, I'd be terrified to see Art walking down the street in front of me. So I am absolutely looking forward to the upcoming Terrifier film.
Awesome. See, and that's the one series we haven't actually sat down and watched the Terrifier film. So maybe we need to have a popcorn night and watch some.
A big one just
Terrifier.
dropped today, which was 28 Years Later.
That's right. That's the brand new one. That's the new hot one.
I definitely, it's a rare occasion that I want to actually go see something in the theater. I don't know why, just the theater thing isn't for me anymore. We tend to do the drive-in, but I definitely want to see that one in the theater for sure.
Christiane, how about you? What's your favorite scary movie of all time, and what are you looking forward to seeing in the theater?
I'm weird amongst the scare actors. I'm not a big fan of scary movies because a lot of the scares seem kind of cheap. But my favorite scary movie is a foreign film called Raw. It's about a girl who grew up as a vegetarian. Her whole family is vegetarian, and she eats her first piece of meat and becomes like a cannibal over time. And then she finds out that her mother is actually a cannibal, and the reason why they forced her to be a vegetarian is so that she wouldn't become a cannibal.
Wow.
Oh, wow. I don't think I've ever seen that one.
That might be one to look into.
It's so good. I think it's like a French or Belgian film. You can find it on Netflix.
We'll have to look that one up. That's pretty fun.
That's a great recommendation.
Kate, what's your favorite scary movie?
I don't think I have an all-time favorite. Wait, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think I have an all-time favorite, but I do like movies like from A24, Hereditary, Midsummer. I watched one recently that they came out with. It's in theaters now called Bring Her Back. I like movies that explore the concept of grief and human emotions, but then I also really like cheesy horror movies, like C-list horror movies, like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, that are just really goofy and scary.
You and Living Dead daughter would get along just fine. She since she was a little one, she loved Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's one of her favorite movies. In fact, well, he's packed away, but we do have a shorty animatronic that lives with us. We love him so much.
Too
Very
funny.
fun.
Too funny. All right. Let's see here. How do you keep your energy up for so many nights in a row? CJ, how do you keep the blood going and your eyes open?
I don't. Straight up, I don't. It's really hard. I'm just going to say pace yourself, because I've had nights where I'm looking at my fellow monsters going, I don't know, guys, if I can survive this night. So we'll just I'll just do a slow night. I'll just lean up against something, and if somebody notices I'm there, I kind of go in for the kill, just a quick little boo, and then they run off, and I'm like, okay, I did my job. They managed to scream and run. But I just eat your protein, drink your water, take your electrolytes. When it is your break time, go on break, go sit down. I remember my costume was so heavy. It was literally made out of fabric for furniture and curtains. So I would be wearing a wig with a bonnet, with a bustle, with a skirt, with a top on top of another top, and my wig. There'd be a few times where it'd be so warm, I would take off almost everything. I had workout clothes underneath, and I would just go over to a cool room and just lay down and try to dry before putting all that stuff back on, because I would just feel absolutely drained. And I'd have an energy drink every now and then, but usually I would just try to take it easy, drink some black tea, and go back out there.
What about you, Christiane?
I'd say pretty much the same thing, especially the pacing yourself thing. It's extremely important. Because by the end of the night, you feel hot. You kind of just want to fall asleep. Your eyes are getting heavy. Like, when you're tired, don't lean against something, because, you might start to fall asleep. That happened to me a few times, especially since the walls were so comfy.
You had all the plushy walls.
Yeah.
I had a wall made of bricks.
That's harder to fall asleep on, but if you're already feeling sleepy, don't lean against something, because you're gonna fall asleep.
Kate, what kept you going?
I wish I had a really healthy answer, but caffeine. I work at a whole day job while I also do not. So there's times where I get 4 hours of sleep several days in a row. I end up trying to not take too much caffeine because it's not all that healthy for you, but I do get little caffeinated chocolates, and I pop them in my mouth throughout the night.
That's a good idea.
You gotta be careful on the caffeine. You'll start to get the jitters, and I said, you know what? I'm a jittery monster tonight.
Yeah, pace yourself with the caffeine too. Don't
I can
chug
see
it
that.
all before you start.
We've got a question. Let's see here. It was from, where did you go? From Chris Melander. What role would you want to do next? Kate, what role would you want to do next?
So there's a whole bunch of roles that I would love to have going for an audition this year. I'll name whatever I didn't get that I just think is cool. There's a whole bunch of different roles throughout the other zones and mazes. I think that Lucinda's and Mesmer are so cute, and I would have loved to be one. Any of the Queen's Guard and the Gauntlet, they look so cool. A lot of them have really cool hairstyles, and I've always admired the costumes. Super cool. Would have loved to be them. Yeah.
Cool. Those are some good ones.
Those are some fun
And
ones.
I could totally see you, Kate, doing all of those roles.
Christiane, did you have your eye on anything that you would say to yourself, I would really like to do that?
Well, I'm gonna name something that I didn't get, because I did get a role that I wanted.
Good.
So I'm going with what I didn't get. Spine Master in Chilling Chambers.
Speaking of the devil, he is in the chat tonight, Mr. RJ Clark.
Hi, Richard.
Yay!
What about you, CJ? Was there anything that you had your eye on that would have been neat to get?
Ooh, that's tricky. I kind of want to try a mask role, because my past 2 roles I was in makeup, but I would like to do a more masculine role. I kind of want to try that out, like either a pallbearer or footman, or even maybe one of the monsters in Ghost Town, like the wolf, or something that I can wear a gnarly mask and just run around and be able to use that to scare, people.
I love that. That would be fun. A little more inhibited, maybe.
This is a good question. I like asking this too. I know there's so many haunts that happen. I know you probably don't have the opportunity to, but do you guys ever visit any other haunts throughout Southern California? Either the big haunts like HHN, or like the indie haunts, the smaller haunts? Do you guys have time to go visit and get inspired from visiting other haunts? CJ, do you guys have opportunities to go look at other haunts out there throughout SoCal?
No, when you're working Knott Scary Farm as a monster, you have to be pretty much locked in to do that. Maybe if you're lucky, I know some people who on their night off, they'll end up going to a different haunt. Usually what they'll end up doing is just going to Scary Farm for the evening, to visit their friends. But in the past, I have been to Dark Harbor. Dark Harbor, I think, is an incredible haunt to see. Very creative, very different from Knott Scary Farm. Even Halloween Horror Nights is a really fun one. But probably one of the most intense haunts that I've ever been to that I was very impressed with was Zoe Reborn. That one is fun. Oh my goodness gracious. That one kept you on your toes.
Okay, wait, hold on. Which one is this again? Let me write this down.
It's called Zoe Reborn.
Okay.
And it's an escape room.
An escape room. Okay.
Yeah, it's an escape room. So if you like puzzles, and while you're trying to do these puzzles, there's scare actors coming at you, and you're trying to unlock something while you hear them running behind you with a chainsaw, and it's just it's a very unique, different experience. But if you can handle that intensity, I say go for it.
Nice.
We need to do a scare room.
We haven't done
or
a scare room.
Escape room, whatever.
Scare room, escape room. We'll get scared for
scared
sure.
as we're trying to escape.
Awesome. Christiane, how about you? Have you ever visited any other Southern California haunts?
Nope.
None. Just a hardcore Scary Farm.
I've heard of other haunts, but I've only ended up ever going to Scary Farm.
It's the original one. It's tough to beat.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Clearly the best.
Kate, how about you?
I try to visit HHN and Dark Harbor every year. Well, when Dark Harbor's been back. I visited it when it was Shocktoberfest, and then I got to visit it as actual Queen Mary's Dark Harbor last year. It was amazing. I definitely want to be able to visit this year to see the characters there do their thing. And then I also went to a little one called Tom's Farms, which is a little local haunt to me. Yeah.
Yep. That's not too far from us. We enjoy Tom's Farms. Yeah.
Love Tom's.
Awesome. Okay. Trying to see if we have any more in the chat. RJ Clark asks, have you guys been to the 17th door?
Ooh. I've heard about that.
Have any of you been to the 17th door?
No, I have not, but I knew somebody, like I said, who worked there. And he's told me some of the crazy things they do. So I think that's on my radar of places to check out. We're going to take you with Christy.
That's one of the ones where you've got to sign the waiver, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't,
which we haven't
done those
yet.
yet.
We
No,
haven't done
no.
a waiver thing yet, but
I mean, not that I would ever go into a haunt and retaliate, because, well, that's just ridiculous, because it's not part of it. But when you've got to sign a waiver, if I need to defend myself, I should be allowed to be like, at least push away or something. But that's next level from a jump scare, or the raw, the noises. That's, I don't know, that I think is a different level of scare that I don't necessarily equate to Halloween.
right. Yeah. Some of it's just like grotesque from what I've heard. It's like that would make me vomit. That doesn't scare me.
Yeah. I don't
It's
want
more
any
like a fear factor.
Yeah, like fear factor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want any bugs on me or fluids on me, but the typical, of course, Halloween related scare would be just fine. Brave Shift Cosplay says it's fun if a field trip is still a thing. That was extra fun. I think we've got a field trip in the works here.
I'll go with you. I'll hold your hand.
I might need it.
I want to know is what do guests never see that would totally surprise them about how mazes in scare zones work? I'm sure there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I mean, probably from just the daily operation to, I'm sure, even like the behind the scenes storytelling. But can you guys share anything like that guests have no clue? They just see the final product. But can you walk us through like how it gets to that point from like start to finish? There's just a little glimpse of something like that. Any behind the scenes you guys can share, CJ?
Yeah, I actually like talking about this, especially when rookies come up to me and go like, hey, what are the differences between like streets and maze? One thing I like to remind everybody is when people go to a place like Halloween Horror Nights, Scary Farm, people are paying to go into the mazes. They're paying to walk through these setups, these little worlds where you can see a story playing out. So when you are a monster within a maze, you have the role of keeping that story going. You're supposed to help push this flow, and the people who are visiting, the guests, you're there to show them what this story is. You're there to play it out. Now, streets, on the other hand, people, I mean, yeah, granted, people still go to see the streets, but the streets are there as like, I see street monsters being like cheerleaders. They're there to help carry that vibe of you just left a maze or you're about to go into a maze. They're there to keep that energy alive and going.
I like that, CJ. That's some good advice for the rookies that show up. I really like that.
Kate, any thoughts?
I know in my zone, but a lot of others, we think of trying to think of like intricate backstories to our characters, and that really helps us play the roles out on the streets. Even in the most simplest interactions, we try to think about our characters, who they are, why they would say the things that they say, and try to put like motivation behind their words. Yeah, a lot of thought goes into the characterization.
Love it. Love it. That's awesome. Thank you, Kate. How about you as well, Christiane? What, any behind the scenes stuff that guests wouldn't even know? Like what happens back there to get you from start to finish there? What do they not see that you wouldn't mind sharing?
The monsters getting lost in their own maze.
You're not talking from experience, are you?
There's so many shortcuts. If you take a wrong shortcut, you're suddenly in a completely different part, and it's like, where do I go and how do I even get back to where I went?
So it's funny. So it's not only you get lost, but I mean, we have had Living Dead Mom get lost. She went backstage. She was trying to
led everybody backstage, not just me.
I
had a line of people behind me.
And not only that, she led TikTok backstage.
Oh,
she was live on TikTok.
That sort of thing also happened at Chilling Chambers last year. we didn't have anybody standing in front of our backstage entrance from the maze.
I know exactly what spot
some
that
guests
is.
walked in, and we're like, "What?" We're like telling them, like, "Get back in there!" Like we basically scared them back into the maze. Like, get back in there! Get back in the maze! You're not supposed to be back here.
You're scaring them while you're off the clock. That's hilarious.
Oh, but I want to piggyback off of that because one of the funnest things is while you're backstage getting ready for a night to scare, everybody's all chill, like everybody's sitting down at a table, but we have like the makeup on, we got our costumes, so we all look gross and grotesque, and we're all just like, so how was work earlier today? And then, oh, it was great. Or it's like, hey, how's your day been going? You know what, man? It's not going that great, but tonight it's going to be phenomenal. And it'd be fun because everybody's, like just talking regularly. And then as soon as they go on the streets, like pre-scare, for example, we're all of a sudden just like tweaking out and going insane. And then when we're done, we click back to our normal selves and was like, wow, that was really fun.
It'd be fun to capture that on video. Everybody in their costumes, just having
chilling.
Water cooler chat.
Water cooler
Yeah,
chat.
Yeah,
water cooler chat
that's
in
what
your
it is.
costume.
Water cooler chat, exactly.
I love it. I love it. Anything else?
Do we have anything else
I know.
from
I'm
the
looking.
chat tonight?
I'm looking too.
I know you guys are like, you three right here, you already expressed you guys are like a tight-knit family. And I'm sure there is a family vibe working at Scary Farm. You develop a family in your scare zones, in the mazes, or just as a whole. But I want to know, what does Knott Scary Farm mean to you personally? CJ, we'll start with you. What does Knott Scary Farm personally mean to you?
It's a really fun community where I have been able to establish some incredible friendships with people there. I've always kind of been the little, Halloween weirdo, and when I finally, started getting more involved within the haunt community and just partaking in Scary Farm, look at my two friends here. I love them so much. Christy and I, we go way back, and then we ended up, I came across Katie, and, haunt isn't just the only thing of our friendship. Like, we've already been friends beforehand, but being able to participate all together has made our friendship even stronger. And I'm so excited to see the season that's going to be ahead of us. And I am so excited to be establishing more incredible memories with these two incredible women.
I love it. I love it.
Hey, thoughts?
Got me feeling all emotional. When I started Haunt in 2022, neither of them were with me. And then when CJ joined in 2023, it was so exciting. I have a friend from outside of Haunt and Haunt. And then when when Christy joined the next year, it was like, what? My longest standing friend has joined Haunt? And last season was just so full of so much love and friendship. I can't wait for the years to come where I get to haunt.
I bet you guys are excited for the next season. All right, we've got a couple more from YouTube, from the chat. RJ Clark is asking you, Christiane, about Scare Cam.
What the heck is Scare Cam?
What is the Scare Cam? Let us in on the secret.
So, Spine Master Richard would go around backstage trying to scare the other scare actors. And he would record it. And he'd say, Scare Cam!
And
we need to see this footage.
Yeah, where's the footage at?
Apparently this is being held back from the rest of the world.
I only gave him one scare though. Because he kind of did a jump scare and I was like,
We've got Gray Shift Cosplay asking, end of haunt food choices. What are you eating when you're done?
At what, 3 in the morning?
I know.
2, 3 in the morning. What's your go-to?
What's open and what are you choosing?
Kane's fried chicken. Best to believe I'm running in there and grabbing myself a box of that chicken with the sauce. Oh, so good.
Don't forget the sauce.
That's
Don't
right.
forget the sauce.
Kate, what are you eating when haunt is over? Are you frozen?
She's frozen in
I think we're
time.
frozen, Kate. No. Christiane, what are you eating after haunt?
I go home and toast chocolate chip waffles.
What? Chocolate chip waffles.
Yeah,
That
chocolate
sounds
chip
good.
waffles. I would just eat them while I'm soaking my feet because your feet hurt after a long night.
I can imagine.
I'd just be sitting in the bathroom eating chocolate chip waffles.
So we need to try that because our feet are always killing us at the end of
Yeah.
Scary Farm. So maybe we need to come home, soak our feet, and have some chocolate chip waffles.
I'll have chocolate chip waffles anytime. Kate, did we lose you there? Kate, what are you eating after haunt?
Denny's.
Yes, Denny's.
I was wondering if anyone
Denny's.
was
The Grand Slam, move over
We
my
all go-
hammies, or whatever it's called.
move over.
Move over. Those are my hammies. What's on the
I
menu?
get an omelet or pancakes.
Okay,
She's keeping it clean.
there you go. Love that.
I love it.
I have another question. It's everyone's big on haunt names. I know you guys all have them. What are your haunt names, and what's the backstory behind your haunt names? CJ, what is your haunt name there that was either given to you or you chose yourself? What's the backstory?
So I have two. Last season while I was in the lake, I got Goth Moth for obvious reasons. But on my character, I had little moths clipped all over her because I was trying to do this whole concept of I had the light in my mouth and I had like this veil over the bonnet that would kind of go over midway my face. So when I would open my mouth with the light, you can see the moths and it almost looks like they were gathering onto the light. So that's how I got that. But when I was in Chilling, I was called Lysol. So on my first ever night of haunt, I was in Chilling Chambers in the box. I scared somebody and they threw up. And
Oh,
so we
no.
stopped the maze. That was my first experience of night haunting. So we had to close the maze, clean it up, and it's just bad smell. So the manager was walking around going, "Oh, we can't open the maze when it still smells like this." So I said, "Oh, I'll be right back." So I ran out of the room, grabbed a can of Lysol, ran back in and started spraying around. And she looked at me and went, "Is that hairspray?" And I go, "No, it's Lysol." And the other doll started laughing. Well, then a few days later, I got a sinus infection and my nose was really dry and I was in the box scaring and I sneezed and I went, I should probably clean the glass. So I ran out, grabbed some Lysol wipes this time, ran back in. I see you shaking your head. So as I was cleaning the glass with the Lysol wipe, I was scaring people. And then I ran back out and the doll looked at me and goes, "Were those Lysol wipes?" And I went, "Yeah." And she goes, "How many Lysol products do you have?" And I go, "Well, I got spray and I got wipes." And she goes, "Lysol." And I went, "Huh?" And then a few other people went, "Lysol, your haunt name is now Lysol." So
That was it. It stuck.
and it stuck. So yeah, I'm Lysol.
I love that.
Kate, what are your haunt names? Name or names?
My connection is terrible.
Oh, it's okay, honey.
Are we still on hot names?
Can you hear me? Haunt names.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So my haunt name is Charlie, the new guy that's usually in front of the newsstand in Goring 20s, would greet me every night with like a new nickname, like, how's my starlight this evening? And one night he's like, how's my little songbird? And then other people in my zone just started calling me, how's my little songbird this evening?
That's sweet though.
It is sweet and endearing.
I
And
know.
And
I
it's
love that.
it's like it's an oxymoron for and I guess all haunt names are, right?
I guess so, yeah.
Because there is a little backstory,
Lysol,
but
right?
yeah. But for someone supposed to be scary, it's something sweet. But that's a good one. I do like that one.
Christiane, did you have a haunt name this time round?
Several, and you came up with one of them. So Bad Bunny, Bunny, Evil Bunny. I told one of the other scare actors, come on, be more creative. Like, my last name is Hobson and I'm the bunny. Do something with that. So he came up with Hippity Hoppity.
Hippity hoppity. There you go. There you go. It goes. It goes.
To piggyback off that, I see some jerseys back there behind both of you, CJ and Kate. I don't know if Christiane, if you have one, but do you mind sharing your jerseys with us? I know that's definitely a Knott's tradition thing. I know a lot of you guys have jerseys. Can you explain to me what do you got on your jersey? What do you guys have? Feel free to share that off to the rest of us. I know if you guys are listening, you probably can't see this, but what do we have here?
There. You have my number, and then it says Goth Moth on there.
I
But
love it.
we had this one person fabricate these really, really cute hoodies, and I actually have mine behind me. Hold on, I need to show this. And it says Forsaken Lake in like a metalhead font. Look at that.
Hey.
That's pretty neat.
And then on the back of it, it has the mausoleum that us grievers jump out of. And then I created
That's awesome.
It.
That is rad.
That is rad.
And then I don't have it on me, but what we did for Banquet is I designed a t-shirt with a hearse on it. The old horse-drawn one that says, "Don't laugh as a hearse goes by." And what we did is we sold those shirts and then collected some money for Banquet. And then a few other groups created these really, really cool t-shirts or like merch to help like raise money and fundraiser.
That's incredible. I love that. I love seeing. See, this is behind the stuff scenes we don't get to see too often. So that is so cool. Thank you,
That is neat.
CJ, for sharing that. Kate, what do you have with you right here?
I just wanted my jersey out because I saw CG brought her. This is my Songbird jersey. It's very big on me. It's a hockey jersey. It says 180. That's my number because when I scare on a pivot, it's like I'm turning 180.
Ah, that's clever. I do like that. How fun.
That's fun. A question from Memories Amusement. Any personal ghost stories while working haunt or any weird feelings, any ghostly feelings while you guys are out in the streets or in that maze?
Because Knott's is supposedly haunted. Have you guys had any experiences working at Knott's?
Oh my gosh. No, I'm confirming it is haunted. And why would a ghost want to haunt Scary Farm or Knott's, I should say, out of any other place you could haunt? Like if I was a ghost, I'd pick something cool, but not an amusement park. But a handful of us have seen some pretty spooky stuff.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
We're going to have to
That
do
or
a
I was
segment
tired.
on that. I know when Memories Amusement was on here, he had told us a pretty crazy story too that even required the shutting down of the maze. So we will definitely have to dig deeper on that. Would love that. Christiane, anything crazy going on in Chilling Chambers?
Only some of the lights flickering backstage. There's nothing wrong with them. They just do that.
So some electrical stuff, huh?
There's different stories people have told me, but I'm just like, I don't know. I think there just might be something wrong with Knott's.
Kate, have you experienced anything?
I haven't experienced anything paranormal, but something that happened in a maze when I was in Waxworks in 2022 or 2023. There was a possum that ran through the maze. And apparently the possum had run through Waxworks before. And it was just like, oh, you saw the Waxworks possum? And apparently this possum was infamous for running through the maze. So all of a sudden, I stopped seeing guests come through the maze. And I think, oh, there must be a traffic jam or something. And then I see something that I think is a cat run past me through the maze. A couple minutes later, a lead comes by and he's like, did you see it? Did you see the possum? So yeah.
The haunted possum.
So I have to know, Kate, did you guys name the possum
Did you name
since
him?
this possum comes back and revisits?
We just possum. And from what I know, nobody saw it last year.
Possum.
Wow.
Love possums, though. I really do. They do serve a good purpose. All right. From Saul, who was in Mesmer last year. He says, what is the feeling on the last day of Haunt?
Good question. Thank you, Saul. CJ, what's the vibe there? The very, very last night, right as Haunt's closing down, right at the final hour. What is it like? Scare
It's
zone or
energetic.
maze?
It's so full of energy because everybody is just like, final scare. Let's just really, go at it and have fun with it. And then it's also fun because, like you figure out who your running buddy is. I call them my battle buddies. And you just kind of play off of each other. And it's the night where you just want to have a fun, great time. And even maybe pull a few pranks on some people too, harmless ones, and just make the night even more memorable. I remember it was pouring rain that evening. Oh goodness, it was cold and humid, if that makes any sense. And the fog machines were going and the fog would just stick in the air. And we were all like, oh, tonight's going to be a great night. We can definitely use this to our advantage. And the sad part is the sliders couldn't do their thing because when it rains, it's not safe to slide because you can't control where you're going. So that was kind of the big bummer. But other than that, it's just everybody's already really hyped up and just excited they want to end strong.
Yeah. What about you, Christiane? How's that last night feel?
Very similar. It's just full of excitement. People are like, yeah, it's the last day. It's kind of like the last day of school. Everybody's like excited. But also, like, when you talk to people, there's a lot of sadness. They're like, I'll miss you.
Probably a range of motions, a different range of emotions. Kate, how are you feeling last day of Haunt?
Definitely very emotionally charged. So a lot of us in Goring were mushy theater kids. We had thinking that we might not see each other for a while. We definitely try to give it our all with the last scares. Last Halloween for us, it was rainy, like CJ said, and it was a really nice atmosphere with it being really well lit with the rain and all of us dancing in the rain. In Goring, we usually close out with when the last jazz band plays their last set. So we end with like a crescendo of music. And then we all clap and go inside. So, really dramatic.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
All right. Well, speaking of the closing night, we want to thank you guys, gals, for being with us tonight. CJ, Christiane, Kate, thank you so much for being on our 5th episode of the FogCast. We appreciate your time being here with us. But before we go, I'd like to wrap up with one last question. Gratitude's very important in our lives. We wake up every day and say aloud 3 things what we're grateful for. What we want to know is, what are 3 things that you ladies are grateful for too right now? CJ, we'll start with you.
3 things that I'm grateful for. Just being able to wake up in the morning and just realize the blessings around me. I have such an incredible life, and I have to start off my day with gratitude as well, and get myself a cup of coffee, sit down and meditate, and just take in the amazing day that I'm going to be starting to have and the week. And I just am also grateful for my family. My family is incredible. I love my brother, I love my sister, I love my mom and my dad. And I'm even just excited to know what's going to be happening with my day. Like, I'm so super happy because, every day is something new, something adventurous. And then even for my friends, I'm happy for all the people in my life. And I just want them to also understand like how many blessings they have. I want them to understand that they are too also a blessing. And I want them to also practice gratitude.
Awesome. Thank you,
Love
CJ,
that.
for sharing that.
Love that.
Christiane, how about you? What are 3 things that you are grateful for right now?
Number 1, friends. I love these guys. And my friends in the chat too. Hi. Family, because there's fights, but we stick together no matter what. It's like, even if there's something that we'll never agree on, you're still my family at the end of the day. And lastly, my fiance, I'm marrying him next month. He's my biggest supporter.
I love that.
And sorry to my friends,
Congratulations.
he's like my number 1 best friend. He has to be.
Yay. Well, congratulations to you. All the best.
Kate, 3 things you're grateful for today.
Both of them. I think that counts as 2. I'm grateful to be in good health. I for granted because you never know when you might not be in good health. Could happen to. I'm able to continue to do what I do and have the physical ability to do so. I'm grateful for my fiance. I marry him next year. I wouldn't be able to continue to do what I do for Haunt, Porter. Always making sure that I make it home safe after Haunt, no matter how exhausted I am. Making sure I'm well prepared for everything. Making sure I'm fed. So I'm grateful for him.
Love that.
Awesome.
Love that.
Thank you. Before you guys go, where can we find you guys on social media? Now's the time to plug in your socials. If you guys have like a side business or an online store, feel free to share it here with us all. We love promoting what you guys do outside of Haunt. So CJ, where can your fans find you on social media?
So I am on Instagram. I am Little Miss Joy Joy. I post a variety of fun photos. I know I made stickers. I made some fan stickers, and you guys love those. Maybe I plan on making some more. I'm debating if I want to do a money pull or not. And then any other links, like I do have TikTok. It's been a hot minute since I last used it, but the link is on my account. So if you guys want to give me a follow, I would love that. I love doing makeup tutorials, doing makeup. And I'm going to be starting school, and I'd love to be able to share my school journey with you guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, CJ. Christiane, where can we find you on the social medias?
Mainly Instagram. My main Instagram is Maggie Laughlin. But I also have an art account called Crispy Cream. With C's. It's with C's.
Okay.
Old nickname of mine. I have that in the description of my main account too. So if you can't find it,
Awesome.
Thank you, Christiane, so much. And then last but not least, Kate, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram. My Instagram is Keylimekate. Keylime like the pie. And then I also have the Keylime Creatures. That is where I do special effects makeup and practice airbrush makeup. Yeah.
Awesome. Good to know. Good to know.
Very
And
cool.
if you follow us on Instagram on our last post for today, all three of these ladies are tagged on there, so you can easily access their social media. And then on their pages, they'll have their additional accounts as well. So awesome. As you guys know, we record live. We do most things live, and with live goes the things that go with it. Sometimes there's audio, video. Thank you guys, all of you, for hanging in there with us. We don't do the record and edit thing. It's just as raw as it gets. So every once in a while, you're going to have those things. Thank you for sticking in there with us. Sorry about the audio. I think we kind of figured out in the end how to minimize it a little bit, and then we got going. We want to really thank the three of you for coming on here tonight and sharing your journey with everybody. We're going to go ahead and say goodbye and put you backstage, but don't go anywhere. We're going to sign off real quick, and then we'd like to come say thank you and close out with you real quick. So we're going to say goodnight to the CJ, Christiane, and Kate. And we hope to have all three of you guys back sometime. I'm just going to quickly. Thank you guys.
Thank you. And we look forward to seeing you ladies in the fog.
In the fog. We will definitely have you guys on camera all this next season. Can't wait to find out where we can find you so we can start that journey for the 2025 season. All right, one quick second here as we close out on these.
Again, thank you everyone that's tuned in tonight on the live stream. Thank you for our chat, our moderators being here. Thank you so much. And our Ninja Watchers. Again, you can catch this episode. Obviously, you guys are live, but if you're watching this on the replay, YouTube Music, as well as Spotify,
Apple
Podcast, and
we're almost on Amazon. I'm still working on that, and also iHeartRadio. So YouTube under podcasts or our live, and then Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Those are the easiest ones to find us. You just look up Living Dead Fam, and it'll come right up.
Awesome. Again, thank you all so much for joining in tonight. We do our live streams from the park, and if you just found us, thank you. We do all things spooky year-round, as well as these podcasts. We got Ghost Story Night that we do as well, and ghost investigations that we have coming up.
Yeah,
so
some fun investigations coming up. And this month, we do have 2 of these podcasts coming out. We had these 3 lovely ladies today. Next week, we have another one. So next week on Thursday, 8 p.m., we've got a family that scares together. So we're excited to talk to them. I think we had some of them in here in the chat tonight. And I think I've noticed one of them in here for a couple weeks now. So thank you so much for joining and supporting. And we're excited to have you guys on next week. We're going to get started on that. And we'll probably be in the parks at some point this week. We will probably be doing Disney one day and Knott's the next. We're ready for Knott Summer Nights. It's one of our favorite times of the year.
And don't forget, your boy right here loves coffee. So if you haven't tuned in on one of our coffee roasting streams or breakfast and lattes with Living Dead Fam, make sure you turn into that as well. But with that said, we're going to close this out again. Thank you so much for being here. And as we say, we will see you all
a little later
in the fog.